Hey guys, another Lagoonies story about the Blue Lagoon and what's their preparation for the next evacuation that will definitely come. They already had 4, as you know. They always wait for the last minute so that till the last minute they can rake in the money. Every time when we know there's an eruption imminent, when the scientists are saying eruption can happen at any time, they do not evacuate, they do not close down, they stay open. They stay open until people wake up in the middle of the night, see the eruption going, and then have to do an emergency evacuation. I've shown you footage. There's been like tourists that filmed the evacuation. They were scared, their faces, they were running outside. Walk With Me Tim has made a video. He was there. He woke up. The sky was red. The eruption was in full force, and he made a video about that. He could feel the heat from his car. He could see the eruption when he was driving out there. So why do you have to put tourists through this again and again? There might be elderly people, there might be children, there might be people that might be traumatized by this for the rest of their lives, but money is more important as it seems. So I have an interesting story about this for you, about a bus driver that sits in this hotel. But before we talk about this, we know the eruption is imminent. The land keeps rising at a steady pace. So they thought that the land rise had stopped, which is sometimes an indication that an event is about to be imminent, because the magma chamber that is underneath the Blue Lagoon and the Swartsengi area, if it's full to the maximum capacity, the land rise stops because it cannot expand any further. It's like blowing up a balloon. It only can expand that much until the expansion stops, and then poof, you have to send the air out or it explodes. So the Met Office thought for a day or so that it might have stopped, but that was just a mistake. Check out my video about this. The solar flares were responsible for this. So if you want to learn more about that, what they have announced, check out my video. So land keeps rising, pressure keeps building up. So what is the latest news that they have released today? So their update is the land is rising underneath Swartsengi at the same speed as before. That's why they're saying there is an increased probability of a new magma intrusion or eruption in the coming days. They think it's most likely to erupt in the Sutnuka crater series, where we have seen the past eruptions. The eruption warning may be super short. We are seeing earthquakes along the Sutnuka crater series, but what is concerning, we're seeing the earthquakes also south of Mount Thorbjorn. That's at the doorsteps of Grindavik. That's just a little bit north of Grindavik, basically where the main road Grindavik-Vegur, that is like a now north-south connection. That's also the access road for the Blue Lagoon. That's basically where we see earthquakes. So is this an indication that magma is somehow making its way underneath Grindavik again? Could we see an eruption at the doorsteps of Grindavik or inside of Grindavik? Yes, we could. And that's why they are working day and night on a second row of defense walls, because the first row has already been breached. So that's about this. So 60 earthquakes have been recorded in the magma corridor within the last 24 hours. So this is similar to the seismic activity that has been recorded in the recent days. About 50 to 80 earthquakes have been recorded in the last 24-hour period, and most of them in the areas between Stora Skogfell and Hagafell. So basically where we have seen the last eruption, but also, as I just said, south of Thorbjorn, and that's the area that concerns me the most, because that, if there's an eruption right there, that could be the end of Grindavik, in my opinion. So magma accumulation under Swartsengi and the land rise is continuing at the same rate as before. It's not slowing down. We have about 15 million cubic meters in the magma chamber, so higher than all the other eruptions except the December eruption. That had about 20 million cubic meters in the magma chamber. Should there be a new magma flow, an intrusion, or magma on its way to create a new eruption, we will see signs. And the signs would be the same signs that we have seen before: local small earthquakes, an earthquake swarm in and around the magma tunnel, and acceleration in deformation and pressure changes in the boreholes in the area. But you know, the earthquake swarm could be very, very slow if the magma is using the same areas that it has used before, because it basically has a highway that's paved already. If it's going somewhere else, let's say south of Thorbjorn at the doorsteps of Grindavik, it would rumble there a little bit more, but maybe it's already on its way because it is rumbling, right? They're saying maybe that rumbling's coming from the increased pressure that's in the magma chamber and like a tension that's changing. Who knows? They repeatedly said the last few days that they do not know, and that it could surprise us completely, that it could come up somewhere else completely. And it's not ruled out by the scientists that it can come straight up where the Blue Lagoon and the power plant are located, where we have our lagoonies. So will an evacuation help them then? Well, who knows? They're thinking the warning time would be 4 to 7 hours because magma needs to grind its way to the surface. But the surface is worn out with every rising and subsiding and rising and subsiding. That crust is getting more and more brittle. So eventually it might create a way of least resistance for the magma, especially the more and more pressure is in that magma chamber. And then it'll be hard to evacuate if the eruption is right there where you are. But what is the Blue Lagoon doing? And there's an interesting story about a bus driver that they have hired to evacuate people with a bus. So what does the guy have to do in order for that? So basically, since January, he is living in a hotel room at the Blue Lagoon Silica Hotel. So he has his own hotel room there and he seems to be quite happy. He says basically, I'm well fed, I'm having breakfast there, I have a terrace, I have a hotel room for myself, and he doesn't seem to be bothered that he's kind of lonely. He says the only thing he's missing is playing his piano and going to the movies, but other than that, he's living in that hotel and he's basically on standby. So once the next eruption starts, he has to go and evacuate all the people again. So at least, you know, we know something about their evacuation security measurements. But unfortunately, you know, why does it have to be an evacuation? If they did close down right now, when scientists are saying it's imminent, and from experience, they have experience now since November 10th. If they say it's imminent, it usually comes. So losing a few days of business for the sake of the safety and saving the lives of the tourists and the mines and not putting them through that. Because many tourists still, believe it or not, do not know what is going on there. The Icelandic television has just 2 weeks ago or so, they went and they interviewed people that were going to the Blue Lagoon and they asked them, well, are you aware? What? There's an eruption going on? No, we didn't know that. Oh, we're swimming right on top of the magma chamber. Ha! So I guess if it erupts from there, we're done, right? So they're laughing about it. They didn't fully know. And my viewers, you guys have reported that you didn't know it, or that you know someone that went to Iceland and didn't know about this. So because they're not transparent enough, they're not saying this on their website. You know, if they said, guys, it's really high risk, you might go through another evacuation, and if shizzy hits really the fizzy, the magma might come up right where you are and you might be a fried chicken very, very soon. So be aware of that. If you want to come, you're welcome, we're open. Nope, they're not saying anything. If you want to do your booking, it doesn't basically say nothing. You really have to search now to find a little bit of something, but you can't call that transparency at all. So that's why I keep reporting about the lagoonies. And if the tourists are fully aware of the risk that they're taking going for a swim there, so be it, right? It's adventure tourism. But I think elderly people that have problems running, walking fast, children, they should know about this. And they should also know about the risk of the gas pollution and that it could be evacuated because of that as well, so that they can evaluate, do I want to put myself through this? Do I want to take that risk? People with heart problems, allergies, respiratory problems, and they should be made aware of this at the point of booking. You have to book that place ahead of time. If you want to do that online, there's basically nothing. So not a good thing, and it doesn't shed a good light on this institution, in my opinion, when tourists are used as a commodity just to make money until the last second. So that bus driver there, he's not allowed to leave the area when the eruption is imminent. So that's basically what it is right now, and basically what it has been since November, right? It's always been like 3 to 4 weeks there was the next eruption. So he says, I'm here to help with evacuations when necessary, and I have taken part in all 4 evacuations that have taken place this year. 4 emergency evacuations. This tells you they're not learning from this. Now they could say, okay, we don't want to do this again. Let's close it down. Nope, they're having the bus driver basically in custody in their hotel so that he has to be there. And he says, he always has to be on the lookout, and he has to be ready to drive people away if that's still possible, if there's not an eruption that is closing down Grindavik, or the main evacuation road. I mean, the lava has closed it down in the 2 recent eruption, but it took the lava a little bit of time to get there. So yes, there was enough time to evacuate, but evacuation usually takes between 45 minutes to an hour. So if there is a eruption that's closer to that place and the lava flows fast, oopsie, it could be not possible, but who knows? That's just me saying it. I always say better be safe than sorry. There's so many beautiful places in Iceland where you could bring the tourists and where they could do a swim, maybe in a natural hot spring. That would be even nicer, right? He's happy there. I'm good for him, right? He says he's happy that he doesn't have to do laundry, and he says, I've got the room all to myself. I'm not bothered there, not at all. It's a beautiful place. It's a good hotel, and it's much better bed than he has at home. So he's taking it lightly for him. It seems to be great. And he says, I enjoy being able to go to a good breakfast buffet and then, naturally to the staff canteen inside of this. So he says, I'm well fed, and he's laughing while he's saying this. So he says, I start the bus every day just to maintain pressure in the system. I take it for a short spin, and then I go over to the big parking area where all the buses park by the lagoon and the tourists are. And I do this at the same time. Usually then I go to dinner afterwards. And then when I'm done with this, he's watching television, he's watching something on the tablet, or he just lays down. That's basically what he says. And he also celebrated his birthday at the hotel on April 27th. He was on duty at the hotel, and he says, well, I anticipated when I got the call to come back to the hotel that I would be here on my birthday, and I didn't want to bother my coworkers to come and relieve me in order to be able to do something that I can do on other days anyway. So it's a very relaxed guy. He admits that he feels lonely sometimes in the hotel. It's to be okay for him. And he says what he does to be able to respond quickly when the call comes for evacuation is to always have his bags packed. And he says, if I go to my computer, I take it out of my bag, I turn it on, I use it, and then when I'm done, I turn it off and I put it back in my bag. I can just put on my clothes, I grab my bags, and I be out in 2 minutes. So it's and basically the tourists should or are advised to do the same, but I doubt that they really know about this, right? So Is this a relaxing vacation when you have an emergency bug out place or bag ready, basically, if you don't want to leave your belongings behind? I would say no, it would be nothing for me. Let me know, guys. Would that be something that you would love to do? Let me know your opinion in the comments. Let's discuss this as always. And thank you so much for watching. Check out my other videos. There's unrest at the super volcano Campi Flegrei in Italy, and it's very scary what one leading scientist has said. He says, if I could, I'd evacuate right now. And we're talking about millions of people. Even if in the direct proximity, Pozzoli, that's 500,000 people. Check out this video. It's very, very interesting. I'll put it in the end screen. And then if you're interested in the big brother or smaller brother or equal brother of Campi Flegrei is definitely more dangerous than Vesuvius, although we know what Vesuvius can do. Very, very scary. Check out the video about Vesuvius as well. And of course, I have an Iceland playlist, the playlist about the Titan disaster. So please like this video. It helps my channel. And if you could subscribe, that would be even more awesome. And for the ones that have subscribed, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. That was a German, like, thank you. Thank you so much for your support. That's how the Germans say it. So thanks, guys, for your supers, for your coffees you keep buying me on my Buy Me a Coffee site. If you want to go there, link is in the description of this video. Thanks, guys. I see you very, very soon. I'm pretty sure. Bye-bye.